Hey there everyone, Mazrock here, and today I've got 10.1.7 gearing tips for you. You know, if you're thinking about swapping mains, if you're thinking about leveling an alt, or if you're a new player, whatever, you hit 70 and you want some free gear, right? Alright. Please do like, comment, subscribe. Goes such a long way towards helping out the channel. This is an early access video for my patrons as well. Now that my kids are back in school, I actually have more time to be making videos, so expect more regular content updates as things go on. It's amazing how that changes. There's a Twitch link down below. Come on by. You know, I've been tanking a lot. Pro Warrior, Blood DK, all 6 tanks. Lots of fun. Come on by, check that out. And of course, the Discord if you have any questions, or if you just want to hang out with a wonderful community full of great people, come on by, check that out. All right, number 1. So obviously go to the auction house if you have any small amount of gold. Don't buy anything too expensive. Just go look for the starter greens. You can actually get a full set of like 379-ish starter greens for like 1,000 or 2,000 gold. Very, very little investment, but that is a very nice option for you to get kind of started and going. Just get the cheap stuff. Don't worry about stats. This is just enough for you to be able to get into heroic dungeons. Then after that, with the heroic dungeons, what you want to do is you want to go to specific dungeons and go to the Dawn of the Infinites and select both of those, because those actually reward 402 purple item level and not 389 like all the other dragonflight heroics. So very, very important for you to be checking that there. And before you accept that, you want to make sure that you go and grab your fighting is its own reward quest that will give you a piece of 415 loot, world content purples, for clearing 5 heroic dungeons, right? These work hand in hand. So not only can you get really, really cool mod from Dawn of the Infinites, you get 402 gear from those drops, you'll also get a 415 drop from that there. So that is a nice combination of things that you can do, which is very, very easy. The next tip that I would have for you is on a Tuesday or a Friday night is when I notice these things are kind of the busiest, is time rifts. But you have to find a time rift that's completable by a lot of people, and these things are kind of now being farmed in a very short period of time now. There's not as many people doing them. There's a lot of cool rewards, but if you go to Aeon's Fringe in Thaldraszus before you do your first ever time rift and complete your first daily of the week there, you will get the encapsulated time capsule thing, which will guarantee you a piece of loot for completing the time rift. Now, this can be a mount, a pet, a piece of transmog, anything, but it can also be a dilated time capsule, which will give you a 402 piece of loot. If you're just looking for easy stuff, this takes 10 minutes, maybe, 15 minutes if you're doing the daily in that as well, but that is an option for you to be using to get some loot along the way. The last thing that you can be doing is, at the timers, by the way, before I get started on the next one, is every hour on the hour is when the time rifts start. So this is something you're going to want to plan and kind of look, be there. And if there's a lot of people doing them, that's your time, right? Go in, do it. But if there's only 5 or 6, don't really worry about it. Skip on. But Dreamsurges. Dreamsurges are the new thing in 10.1.7 that they had added. It's a world event. Week by week, this is going to rotate which zone it is in. So it started last week in the Waking Shore. It's in the Anaran Plains this week. Probably going to be in the Azure Span next week, and then in Thaldraszus the week after, and kind of rotate around. But check your map for that. Now, these do drop these items that you can use for, they're bind on account, by the way. So if you do have a main and you're trying to level an alt, and that alt can't quite do the content by itself, you can actually collect the dream dust, whatever it is, and for 100 gold pieces, 100 of the dream dust, you can actually buy this from the vendor and send it over to your alt. But if you're a new player, you can farm this up for yourself. And you're completing your first Dream Surge of the week will net you a token to give you an item level 415 piece of loot. Right? And a lot of this is also catalyzable. Very, very important there. And you have options of weapons and trinkets. And the real thing that I would be going for time rifts is actually the trinkets. Trinkets are one of the harder things to get, and there are some decent trinket options there. If you're a melee player, the Doomhammer / Charlemagne trinket is actually pretty good. I've been using it on my rogue, and of course it's beaten by, better item level trinkets, but it actually kind of slaps for a 424 trinket and does decent damage, right? And if you can get decent damage out of something, that's all the better, right? So Dreamsurges, I would be focusing on your core pieces of equipment, anything that you want to tier, anything that, you know, weapons or anything like that. And time rifts, I would be focusing a little bit more on those trinkets, which you can get for 1,750 paracausal flakes for the time rifts. And then the Dreamsurges add that dream dust or whatever that will accumulate. And then for 100 of those, you can get yourself a bind on account piece. So like, let's say you have a plate and you're going over to a leather tank, and your plate tank's your main, you can farm up some of that dream dust or whatever, buy some of the leather ones and ship them off to your alt, and then that way they have a nice good piece there. Now, again, another last little tip, they did add the volcanic equipment chest. So if you have any characters that you're done gearing and they have flight stones that are just never going to get used, you can go to Loam and go talk to the vendor on screen now and buy 389 loot for 250 flight stones per, and this is bind on account, so you can just ship it to the alt that you want. Your alt can also buy them, but they need a certain Mythic Plus rating or completion rating for the raid or whatever to be able to buy them, so this is probably something easier and most commonly done from a main to an alt. It does offer 389 adventure gear, which is actually from the season, it's from Dragonflight dungeon pool. So it's not too bad. It's easy acquisition for you to be able to get in some gear that you get in some content that you want. But those are my 10.1.7 gearing tips. There is, of course, the entire thing of crafting. Use your sparks, use them on weapons, use them, you know, if you have the gold. But this is for people that might not want to spend a lot of gold and just want some easy item level to kind of get into some lower end content. That's kind of where the goal is here. But without spending or breaking the bank. I personally now have every class leveled at 70 and semi-geared. Item level 400 plus. I mean, whatever. 9 of them are 430 plus, and 8 of them are 440 plus. So it's been a process. So crafting can get expensive from time to time depending on what you're crafting. So this is non-craftable options. But that is what I have for you today. Have yourself a good one, everyone. Happy tanking.